Today on Just Another Play, I'll be hosting. I'm Alex Juarez, Director of Marketing at Remax Titans, and as well as former Univision Digital Marketing Director, been at the Review Journal for a little while doing marketing. And that's one of the reasons why we brought you this podcast today, is because I've been able to hear a lot of great stories from all sorts of different businesses, every type of business here in Vegas. I feel like I've pitched or tried to pitch or heard a background maybe on 300 to 500 businesses here in Vegas in the last 7 years. So I want to be able to bring the knowledge, the experience that the people in the field are really doing it, and the leaders in Vegas are doing it. So that's why we have here today. We have our first and very special guest, my mentor and my boss, Perla Herrera.
Hey, you gotta roll those R's.
A little bit harder. Te califica la carrera.
There you go. That's good. Let's move on.
Good enough.
That's enough. It's good enough.
So we also have Rob here, very special co-host here. I'll let Rob kind of say a little bit about himself here.
See how he doesn't even give me an introduction? So rude.
You got to prove yourself right here.
What's going on, guys? So my name is Rob. I have a business out here. Mine also goes by Rebel, as everybody knows me out here. Young Latino growing up out here, and started my businesses at a young age and been in the industry for a very long time. The gym industry, fitness, all around. So I'm just here helping out Alex so he doesn't hurt himself.
Rob taught me how to fight. So.
I did.
Oh my God.
I did.
He taught me how to throw a proper punch, and yeah.
There's a lot of videos of Alex when he first came in.
When he would scratch your face.
Most developed.
He would pat the bag beforehand, and then we actually taught him how to throw. So it was really great. It was a good time.
Like, for some reason, my elbow really hurts. So like, what the hell?
Do you really have to hit the bag that hard?
He was punching with his wrist at one point in time. So it was interesting.
Getting a lot of aches here.
No, but you know what? You are right. Because when you do that, you hurt your...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
He's come a long way, though.
I'm proud of you. You have come
I'm in
a
the
long
field, bro. Every day I'm trying to, I'm in the field.
He's grinding.
Iron against iron.
Iron against iron.
So it's iron sharpens iron, but it's okay.
Whatever.
It's one of the two, so it's all right.
Close enough, bro. This is how he was when he was, bro, you fucking this shit up again.
When I see you grappling, you're
Level
like in their ear. Iron against iron.
Tuck it in. Bring it closer.
Do you feel the iron?
So the funny thing about it is, he looks at me, he's like, I don't think I want to do jiu-jitsu. And I said, why? He's like, it's too close.
Because I was doing Muay Thai.
Because he was doing Muay Thai. But he's like, it's too close to be on top of somebody. And I said, I don't know.
Iron against iron?
I said, I don't think you're supposed to think about it like that. So I'm gonna tell you to do it anyway.
Because the positions were,
Awkward.
you have to get used to that type of stuff. Yeah.
Wired.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It'll save your life, though. So it is a good thing.
Everybody. I suggest jiu-jitsu to everybody.
Yes, 100%. I don't do it because I just don't. I hate feet. I gotta. It's uncomfortable for me. I'm gonna be honest.
Those footlocks.
Having a grown man put his feet in my face, I'm just not.
Footlock. You're doing the wrong jiu-jitsu, bro.
Tap out.
I quit before it even gets to that point, so we're just not even gonna go that route.
While your toes all in his mouth.
All right.
His toes all in your mouth.
He's like,
tapping out. Your lips all like this.
See, look, my
Let's
lips
bring
are-
this back, guys. Let's bring this back.
I'm gonna
On to
one
the
last
first
thing.
way.
I don't have a water, and I'm uncomfortable. Because now I have to share it with you.
Corona.
That really was your water, but I think he took it.
I'll try to get one more over here.
All right.
One more water?
There's
nobody over there.
There's nobody. There's nobody over there. Guys, this is a small podcast. We're just
gonna cut
started.
that
There's
in?
nobody out there.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Perla, for your first question,
Yes.
let the people know maybe where you grew up in, what was your upbringing like, how you grew up.
Yes, well, first of all, let me say I'm super honored to be your first guest. You guys are amazing. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Second of all, just so that people kind of know who I am the first Latina owner of a Remax here in Las Vegas, a real estate company. I own about 7 businesses altogether. That includes anywhere from insurance,
Real estate, mortgages, investment stocks. She's her own mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we were on the cover of
My Vegas.
top 100 most influential Latina women. That's big. I think it was all women. So we've definitely, had to break a lot of glass ceilings, as I always tell, my staff. And it hasn't been easy, right? But I feel as Latinos, we have to come back and make sure that if we really are paving the way for the next generation, we're showing them where we're leaving that path. We're not just paving the way and covering it up, right?
Right.
And so we were just talking about that before the podcast, that as I grew up here in Vegas, I graduated from Valley. The East Side is my stomping ground.
Valley High School. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I went to CHAP, so we're good.
You went to
You went to what?
CHAP.
Oh my God, Sam.
See, they already got
You were higher class.
Hey,
Okay.
enough with the division.
Yeah, so definitely started from the bottom. Now we're here, right? But I feel that I missed a lot of Latino mentors as I was making my way, trying to climb my way up the corporate ladder.
Who was that? Who did you look up to when you were little? Did you have you know what I mean?
Yeah, my parents. My parents were the people that I looked up to. My parents, they came from Jalisco, like a lot of families. They migrated here looking for a better life. And so, the idea of the Latino parents is always, work hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think money's kind of a taboo, right? You don't talk about it. You don't really say how much you make. You don't.
You're right.
Really,
I grew up like that too.
Yeah, like that's a bad thing, right?
It's like a paradox. Like it's uncomfortable, so they don't go that direction for some reason.
Because life is supposed to be maybe something more than money, but it's the quality of life that comes along with that too.
It is. So as you're growing up, you kind of face those, those ideas as well. You're kind of breaking through that money is okay if we talk about it, how to build it, how to grow it, all that stuff. So, but my parents definitely are the hardest working people. Like I know a lot of Latinos have, worked 2 jobs to obviously get us make sure that we didn't miss anything, right? But we were a lot less than middle class.
You started from the bottom, right?
Yeah, no, we
right.
really started from the bottom, like the swap meet,
We're
right?
gonna play the song before
We
the
did
podcast.
gonna play.
What was it like? Because you, as you said, you broke off a lot of glass roofs. What was it like being like a Latin woman? Because I think that you went through it all. Because on top of being Latina, you are also a female in the industry that you're in. That it's an industry that's heavily guarded by men.
Male dominated,
Exactly.
for sure.
So what was it like for you to overcome both obstacles at the same time and be successful?
And I feel like you haven't changed very much.
I know I haven't.
But that's
I don't know if that's a good
awesome
thing, right?
though.
And I think that's
awesome.
a huge message, and that's what she's really helped me understand too, is to live your truth too, and live, be who you are.
Be who you are. And so I have a lot of people, and Alex knows that. A lot of times it's annoying because, I have a lot of people that the first thing, Alex used to be my rep for a long time with Univision. I spend almost $250,000 a year on advertising. And so, he had a lot of clients that would come and say, well, I want to do exactly what Perla does, right? Or I want to do the same shows. I want to do the same marketing. And so I feel that you do such an injustice to yourself, because what if you could do more? What if there's more out there for you than what I'm doing? The idea is for you guys to be who you are. And not everybody's going to like you, let me tell you. And you got to be okay with it,
I know
right?
that. I know that also well, so we're good.
Yeah,
And I think as
don't
Latinos
piss off
too,
one person, piss off a lot, right?
I love that.
And I'm like, people recruit people to not like me, and that's okay.
She has a fan club.
I'm like, y'all are just
Exactly.
you guys are just confused fans, so that's okay, right?
we got to make that an Instagram.
I know, right? Confused fans. Follow me for more advice.
She'd probably hit like 1.6 mil off of that. That's crazy.
It's true though, right? And so it's like, be who you are and don't be scared of who follows you and who doesn't, because the right people will follow you. You build your tribe based on that, because if you base it on someone who you are not, eventually it's gonna collapse on you, because you can't maintain a front for too long.
It's building a glass house.
You are. Yeah.
So what made you become the top 1% of, real estate agents in the nation. What made you pick being a realtor? What's your why there? And I know you have different background too. You started as, going to school for something else, and then you kind of led you back into real estate.
Yes. So, if I didn't have enough disadvantages, I went ahead and got pregnant at 18, right? My son, Angel, who is now an amazing
Shout out
entrepreneur.
To Angel.
He is an amazing entrepreneur. I'm very, very proud of him. And so...
Shout out to Out of Heaven.
I know, Out of Heaven, yes. That's his brand. And so, I was faced with all these setbacks already. As I was Latina, I was a very young mom, 18. I was trying to finish high school, and I was broke, right? You can't get any
She laughs
worse
about it now. She was crying about it back then.
I was like, damn, right?
Yeah.
Add to my disadvantages. But I feel that he was my why, right? A lot of times your disadvantages become your why. Like that's where you learn to really pull from within you and be like, okay, this is what I want to do. I went into, I told you that my parents had like 2-3 jobs, right, when we were growing up. And a lot of times what I saw was that they wouldn't get paid fairly. They wouldn't get treated fairly. They wouldn't get worked fairly. And so you kind of grow up with that when you're younger, right?
Chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, you do. And so I felt like when I was growing up, I was always at a very, how would you say, like defensive, right? To say the least. I was always like, okay, well, you're not going to be the one to come and, tell me what to do. And I was always getting into fights. I was like a fighter in high school. It was
I can see that. She got that look.
I know.
She showed me a post one time of her high school graduation.
It was not pretty. So
and there was like 3 people that just bus stop. You remember that time at the bus stop? That's where she did most of her dirty work. Was at the bus stop.
I picked you up on the bus stop.
She didn't need Rob or anybody else to teach her how to fight.
Now look at the difference. Now she's on the bus stop.
I am on the bus stop.
Hey, that's the
a
line
trademark.
right there.
So there's a trademark.
There is
That's
a trademark.
beautiful.
I catch you on the bus stop, and now I market to you on the bus stop.
That's also influential and scary at the same time.
So your trauma is
remember where you came from.
Me. Remember where I am from. Never forget.
As far as the chip on your shoulder, because I feel that that's a big thing in the community as a whole. And what made you steer away from knowing that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and not work for somebody?
Ooh, I like that.
I think my attitude, right? It's like I felt that because I saw all that, I was always, again, on the defensive side. So I started to study more law. Mm-hmm. Like I was translating legal documents for my parents at like 13, right? I had no business
But that's
I
think how a lot of
that's
people.
normal for the Latino community.
You know how to do taxes at 9.
Your 1040s, I got
Pay
you.
bills.
So
I was on the automated system at 12.
Yeah.
Your Social Security.
Hágame el appointment. Hágame el appointment, por favor.
And so you learn, a lot of things you shouldn't learn as a child, but they're good for you. I feel like you grow up understanding more. We're a whole different breed, right? As Latinos, honestly.
Yes.
We are a whole different breed. But when I started growing up and understanding that, education is power, knowledge is power. So when I started to study law, so I went in to college to be a law major, which I did. I majored in criminal defense. And then I took an internship with a great friend of mine, Jose. Shout out to Jose. He was the best criminal mind attorney I have ever seen. And you start looking at different aspects of the Latino community. Like we really are, we are at a disadvantage the minute that we are charged with something. Mm-hmm. The minute you walk to court without an attorney.
That's how they get you.
They do, right? But when you learn the back end, the system, who owns it, how it is so profitable, right? And how we are, we as a community, as well as the Black community, is targeted a lot.
Put in that system just to make some money, yeah.
You're put in a circle because at the end of the day, if we're it's a language barrier off top. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the times they expect you to just know. And they're coming from a third world country where things work 100 times differently than what there is in their country.
Right.
So coming out to the States is a culture shock like immediately.
Right.
So we end up in the rural areas where it's the economic difference, and it's just it's a disadvantage for sure.
It's a socioeconomic issue, right?
Yeah.
We end up in the neighborhoods that maybe are not the best for us.
And maybe because your family wasn't getting approved for other neighborhoods at that time, or loans in other neighborhoods, or for loans at that time.
Yeah, piggybacking on that, a lot of the crime that we would see would be in certain neighborhoods, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's a cycle. And so as I started to study it more, I realized that you have to get out of that socioeconomic cycle. You are who you hang out with, and that is a truth, that your grandma's not the one that just told you that. You do.
Yeah.
If you hang out with 8 millionaires, eventually you'll be the 9th millionaire, right? If you sit at another table, then the conversation's completely different. And you have to understand that.
How do you make those types of people seem cool, though, to a young person growing up? Because a lot of times those leaders, or when I was growing up, now there's more people like you who are successful, who have done certain things, but I didn't, maybe the person I looked up to was Jay-Z when I was growing up. That was the first kind of entrepreneur that came from the same type of, if you were surrounding yourself with drug dealers and hustlers or people that were doing certain things.
Because it's glorified.
The business, yeah.
Well, because it was the only
it's the
thing,
fame, right?
It was the only thing that was shoved in our faces. Because the thing is, growing up, I would have loved to. I tell my kids now is that when they see Bad Bunny was like the first Latino to hit Billboard. Mm-hmm. I told them, I said, appreciate that you have our side on the radio now. Because growing up, if you weren't listening to rancheras and on like the 105 station, you didn't have the crossovers like that.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to see it now and flourish because we didn't have that growing up. So Jay-Z was the main figure that they put out there because look, he's a kid from the hood, came up, he made millions.
Right.
But it's the thought process now. I'm older now, and I feel like having equity, because
I feel like we were both from around those types of friends, you know what I mean, or that type of realm. When now he's an entrepreneur, in the fitness industry, he was, I started working more digital campaigns and started doing different things. As you grow up, you have to be able to shed some of that skin, but keep.
You're about to write for Forbes, right?
Trying.
Nobody knows
That's
that,
the goal.
but yeah.
You put that goal out there, you got to get it.
I know, but it's like you're doing big things right now. But if you do look back, now the generation has a chance to play Chalino. My son plays Chalino and plays, Dr. Dre, and he understands.
The crossover.
He can jump from crossover, and that's amazing, right? But it's our job to teach him that, and I feel like. Somewhere along the way, a lot of my family didn't teach their kids Spanish.
That's me.
Why do you think? I feel like a lot of the times, because I see it now, or I hear it now from more than my grandma, because my grandma raised me, and she told me, I think the biggest thing for her was that she didn't want the judgment come across. And I feel like that was a big play why a lot of families steered away from teaching the second language.
My dad said, well, for me or for my parents, it was the matter of education. So if I was learning one thing in school, I wouldn't get as well as an education in the other thing. But I don't think they understood or could have the foresight to see our culture changing. You need more languages.
My daughter at 10 spoke English, Spanish, and French, right?
She can take over the world.
French?
Yeah, she spoke French. She speaks.
I know we.
Oui.
No more wee-wees. No more wee-wees.
They don't know about those.
They don't know about
They don't know about
I'll show you guys later.
We got to cut that in.
But it's, you're right. I think it was ignorance. That's what I think it was, honestly. It's we didn't know any better, right? But as you climb the corporate ladder, the more languages you know, the more money you make, the more people that you can bring in.
The understanding of a different culture too, because I didn't speak and understand Spanish as well. I didn't watch Univision and Telemundo and listen to everything else, and so you miss a lot of that. But it is what it is.
It's all right, bro. You can fight now, so it makes up for it.
It is what it is.
I just felt that pain, you know. Like I got bullied, I got talked about, but now
It's like the
I
kids
can
used to
fight.
poke at me, and then Rob taught me how to fight. So, what was it? So for you being how do you feel when people say that you're a mentor?
It's interesting because I never realized I was a mentor until a couple years ago, right? I was so busy just trying to grind and raise my children and keep my family together, as a lot of Latinos too. Like, I take care of my parents, so there is no wealth in that generation that was passed on. And so we go back to when I was studying law, I realized, you know, how come we don't get out of these neighborhoods? How come, like, really, where is the deep-rooted problem? And so I started going a lot more into real estate. Again, socioeconomics. We live in an area, we have to adapt to it, right? It's just, it is what it is. Yep. You gotta make friends, you gotta adapt in that, you build your loyalty from it, your disloyalty. There's a lot of things that the streets show you that when you're an entrepreneur, you don't realize how valuable they are to you. But then I realized there was a limit on where we could rent because of the language, because of the credit, because of a lot of that stuff. And it was a bigger problem because, you know, there was a lot of redlining. They wouldn't lend to us in certain neighborhoods. We were stuck here. So even if you made a little more money, you weren't going anywhere.
I feel like my family was one of the families. I'm fourth generation, right? So my dad's an attorney. So we lived, when I was 10, we moved out of the hood and into a neighborhood with mostly white people, right? Our neighbors were the most racist. Like, we dealt with we brought chickens, we got pigs, we brought everything with us, right? We had all sorts of animals. And they would call the cops on us almost weekly. The first 2 or 3 years that we lived there. He sprayed me with water.
Your dad never sued him?
My dad's real calm about all sorts of things. He's a real peaceful.
That's a normality.
Peaceful person.
That's a normality for a lot of Latinos back then. Was to be calm, because they were like, oh,
put your head down.
Yeah, we're in a what's the word for it? It's in uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you touched on it. You said credit. None of us knew about credit. Growing up, I'm barely learning about credit now because nobody ever broke it down for us because our families didn't know of it. Oh, lo podemos hacer en pagos? Cool, we can make it in payments. We'll do it in payments.
Yeah, the lady would come to your house, you know?
Put $20 down now and I'll pay it off in a year and a half and I'm winning. But it's not owning anything. The importance of us owning something was never showed.
Yeah.
I feel like
Equity.
I didn't learn it until now. Is that I know that I need to own everything I touch, like that I can leave something for my kids. Like you said, everything you're doing is for your children.
Right.
And that's the importance of it.
So that leads us into this next question. How have you been able to adapt maybe your personal life or your business during current times, and how you're still thriving?
Yeah, so I feel that as Latinos, we adapt to whatever. We talked about this, right? You build a wall, we build a tunnel. Like, we will adapt.
Put a ladder on the wall. Shout out that guy.
Yeah, the memes are so funny, bro. I've seen so many good memes on that too.
I just want to point out the wall has like holes in it. It's not even a wall. It's like a fence.
It slip right through.
Like you can go right through. Like I think you would fit. I'm a little hefty. I might not fit, but Alex will fit.
Alex will fit. and then he'll
Done
come
it
back.
before.
Right?
Done it before.
But you're right, we are resilient as Latinos because we are a whole different breed, and we've learned to overcome obstacles since we were little, not just for ourselves, for our families. So I feel that these times just make us kind of, raise the bar, figure out other ways. We innovate. We're entrepreneurs at the soul.
So how do you deal with the extra stress of being an entrepreneur, managing your family, and handling during crazy times? Should we keep everybody locked up for a little while longer?
I don't know, man. That's hard because
Keep everybody locked up.
Keep everybody locked up. We don't stay locked up though. That's the problem.
I know.
Stay in the house might have been a better terminology, but locked up.
Stay whatever. Talking about that, but we were talking about that too before the podcast. Is you have to have a strong partner and your tribe that pushes you through, that helps you. Like, I wouldn't be able to have a balance in my life if, my partner, Chris, wasn't there. He's handling stuff I can't handle. Even with my parents, like my parents have a doctor's appointment, he'll take them, whatever it needs, right?
Nothing in my life started going right until my wife came along. Then everything.
100. Shout out, wifey.
1,000%.
Got you.
And then the levels up were like infinite. Yeah, when you find that yin to your yang, the energy you can create off that is crazy.
And we're big on being together as a family. When you shop for homes, like everybody goes, right? Your cousin, your tia, your. I'm like, we caravan to cheap. I'm like, who is that? Oh, that's my neighbors. I wanted to come along.
A little off subject. Do you still have the pigs and the chickens that you guys had at the house?
Nah, they all passed away. Yeah, that was about 30 years ago. So. That was like 25.
A long life. You ate them.
The pig passed away at my Theo's house in Yuma, and then
that's what
the
they told
chicken.
You.
I don't even know.
Se lo comieron. They ate it.
He was too fat. He was too fat. He was like 900 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was too much. Yeah.
That's crazy. What would you say to a circle? And the thing is, we talked about this a little bit before the podcast because we had like a mini conversation. But for you being in the position that you're in, what would you do to bring certain Latin businesses together to flourish? Because we talked about that. Like, what is something that Latino business owners can do to come together? Because I feel that we are our own worst enemy in certain aspects, that there's more hate towards each other than there is buildup. And like we said, it's the same thing as we've always had that hate on Latino communities the same way Black communities have it. But we need to be able to come together as a Latin community to see everybody flourish.
Especially now, right?
Exactly.
In times that 1 out of 4 businesses is closing, we have a disconnect as Latinos all over the place when it comes to, again, you climb that corporate ladder and you pull it up behind you. And same thing with businesses. We're so worried about what fulano's doing and your cousin, and we're not focused on how to become better and how to support each other. And I think it's just gonna start by leading by example, by business owners like yourself, like myself, like Alex. Like, we know a lot of business owners that we are just like, I wanna support your business, man. I wanna see it grow. I wanna see it thrive. And I wanna clap for you when you're there. That mentality needs to change for us to get there, right? And I feel that talking about it is gonna bring awareness more to that subject, because we're long ways for that. Again, when I was, climbing the corporate ladder, I didn't know who to be. That was the problem. I didn't know what to be. I didn't know how to act.
Right.
I didn't know what I was supposed to say or not say, right? And I can tell you that, like, I made my first $1 million by not giving a what I said, right?
Hold up, say it again. Say it again for the viewers.
Run that back one time.
She said she don't give a.
I don't give a.
Because I feel like that plays a big role into a lot of people as they're trying to go safeguard on what people think.
Right.
And we talked about that when we met last week, because I told him a little bit about that. And I've dealt with that firsthand. As I got to a point where I cared, and then I'm like, I don't give a shit no more, so we're going to run this.
Yeah.
You get to a point when you're a younger entrepreneur, a younger executive, that you worried about, if I walk into this room, are they going to like me, right? And then you get to a point where you say, if I walk into this room, am I going to like these fools? Right?
I love it.
That's how she does walk in, too. I can tell you.
These fools.
Yeah.
Because you see how you said that. Were you worried that they weren't going to like you as a person, or because of your race? Was it?
Both. It was, because I was Latina, because of my upbringing, right? Maybe I thought I wasn't polished enough for them, and so I over-educated myself, and I over-polished myself, and then I thought, okay, I still felt that wasn't enough. And then, I started taking the covers of these magazines, and then I felt like, man, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe this isn't my crowd. Maybe, it was weird to explain, But for a long time in my career, even though I was the #1 top producer and extremely successful, I still felt like I wasn't good enough to be in that room. Is that
being
crazy?
insecure, I think that, and having confidence goes across all cultures, right? You should have supreme confidence in yourself no matter what.
But you can't have that unless you are true to who you are. And
Right.
that starts right there. Like, be who you are, love who you are, and the right people are gonna follow you. Your clientele, your friends, your business partners. Because again, if you can't be who you are, then you're building everything on glass.
Yep.
Eventually, it's gonna crumble on you, and you're gonna find yourself. I know friends of mine in marriages that, they're not who they are really, because they don't want their wife or their husband. Okay, but when my wife comes here, just, like, oh, that's sad, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and that creates a lot more problems than you even think too, because you think it'll maybe just pass by, but it creates a lot in your subconscious too. And that's what holds you back. When you have a clear subconscious and clarity there, then you can understand how to, drive a route directly to your goals.
yeah. And so, and back to your question about how you said, what do you think when people say like, you're a leader? At first I was like, I don't know if you really want to lead me, because, but then you realize, damn, there's not a lot of people out there.
There's not. Not in the Latino community that you can actually look up and see Latino millionaires and Latino people that have 7 different businesses and that are actually willing to speak. You're one of the very many, and on top of that, you're also a woman.
Right.
So you stand out more than anything because you're willing to mentor.
Thanks.
But in a great way, because
Yeah.
it's not. It's amazing, especially. I feel that being a Latino man, you get a little bit more advantages in the Latino community than a woman does.
Right.
And I have daughters, so I tell them the biggest thing, hey, it don't matter. Run it, because they're going to come at you more than they are going to come at the boys, because they're girls.
Right. Especially, I took a mentality when I studied law that was like, you don't have to like me, but you will respect me. That's it. Right.
Huge.
And if your daughters understand that, you don't got to do anything you don't want to do for whatever. You're going to get there. And for a woman, I feel that, we do need a lot of Latinas that are grinding, that can show you really how to open a business, how to do your taxes, how to do payroll, how to grow, how to manage, how to lead.
All that.
It's hard to
All
put
that.
an infrastructure in and a system in when you're just leading by yourself too.
It is, yeah. So this is such an important conversation, all the Latino owners that come into this podcast to make.
Message.
Yeah, all the Latino owners. Follow me for more tips.
Message.
Yeah, everybody that comes in here should have a understanding with you guys, right? That you're going to be open to setting that first generation of Latino business owners. We should have, career days, career nights where if you have I'm very blessed that if my kid wants to be a doctor, I can call up my doctor friends and be like, hey, Angel wants to go over there, Stephanie wants to go over there, morticians, whatever, pilots, cops,
That's cool,
FBI
yeah.
agents, right? And so it's like, if people make that promise that they're going to not pull the ladder up behind them, then your work is even more important, because we're very egotistical as Latinos too, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
we are. Like, we don't want to
What can we
share.
say?
We just want to be the top, and then we don't realize that eventually someone else comes along that's better than you, and it might not even be a Latino, and then they completely wipe out your business, and you never left a trace of how somebody else can come back. And so they're grinding from the top, from the bottom again, right? These kids paving their ways. But I feel like, I took about a group of maybe 5 boys that are like the circle of my son's friends, right? And Alex has worked with them firsthand to really be their mentor, and they're boys. I don't have any girls, but that's missing, right? It's like that mentality.
But that's important, because you're giving them that steps stool. Because if coming to another entrepreneur and explaining to them what they can do to step up. Because I think that's the biggest conversations I have with my brother, my little brother, and my nephews. I'm like, you're young. There's no reason for you to wait. Because they were like, oh, you know, they get at that age where I want to rent an apartment. Why? Go buy a condo.
Yeah, I hate that.
Buy a condo. Buy a house. Yeah, you're young. You're going to make mistakes, all that. But at the same time, at least you own something. Because that's the biggest thing that we weren't taught, was to own everything that we touch.
Right.
And that's the importance. And that's amazing that you're able to do that for those 5 kids, because that gives them a 100 times more fighting chance than it would for them just to be working at a casino making $15 an hour, being comfortable.
Right, because as you see these casinos, 20 years, 30 years working for them, and you got laid off and
like nothing.
Like a number, because you are, right?
Exactly.
And so it's like we need to start building,
invest and have equity.
We need to have investments, enterprises, and multiple businesses, not just one.
Yes.
That way you can,
multiple streams of
A very good friend taught me 7 income streams. 7 income streams.
Seven is a lucky number.
It is, but it does take a lot of hard work. And I was telling Alex that the one thing about us Latinos, you can't outwork us. If we put our goal to something, we will grind until it gets done, right? We'll find a way, and we're very resilient. And I think that's why you see these Latino businesses as well, even with all the obstacles, 25% capacity, and they're still out there. They're still opening up their businesses. They're not, filing for bankruptcy. They're struggling day in and day out. They
didn't get no PPE loans.
They didn't get no. They didn't even know how to get no
SBA loans.
They didn't get none of that.
They didn't get any of that, and that's again a big disadvantage to our community too, because we don't have a lot of information on that.
So like that leads us into our last kind of tidbit, I think. Do you have any resources or things to suggest for people out there, maybe that are the next generation of leaders? People, websites, podcasts, Just Another Play. Shout out to
Just Another Play podcast.
Just Another Play podcast. You already know what it is.
Yeah, I think that less games and more reading for sure. But
read, exactly.
Read, man.
Read something good too, not just
Knowledge is
Texas.
power.
Yeah.
You need to know what you're talking about.
Seriously, not just Texas.
And not just your threads on Instagram.
If you don't like reading hard book, they got the apps for books now, so you can actually read on the phone, just in case they didn't know.
And one of the things that helped me a lot when I was younger was I was willing to go with you without getting paid. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's yeah.
And that was big. For me, it was like, with my attorneys, I was willing to be your assistant. Guide your calendar, carry your caseload to court. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to be there. I wanted to be part of the action. I wanted to understand how it worked. Huge. I build my relationships like that, like being here and just, getting the waters, whatever. I feel like these kids right now need to understand the importance of really indulging in whatever it is that they want to do. Not how much are you going to pay me? Because I still have that mentality even with agents come, when they're like, what are you going to offer me? And I'm like, no, I know what I can offer you. What are you going to offer me? Right? Like, I know what I bring to the table. I bring the table. So like, what are you going to offer? What kind of talent are you going to bring to my company that makes you worthwhile? And that is where I think our next generation needs to understand, right? Go into these businesses if your mom, your dad, your uncle, and volunteer.
Yeah.
Volunteer, man. Get in there, understand the concept of a business.
Learn
owner.
every part too, from the bottom to the top.
Yes, because it is very important. I think I was fortunate enough. My pops owned a pizza place. My dad's always been
a business owner.
Some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So he had a pizza place. I was in junior high. So this is before smartphones. I got the big direction book they had back in the day.
Beeper or what?
No, shut up. They had the big direction book. You had to look up the directions in the book, and me and my grandpa would go deliver the pizzas. So my grandpa would drive, and I would drop the pizzas up, but I'd make tips. I was 13.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if your families have businesses, man, go. Be around them.
Yeah.
Because that's
That's going to get
lesson
you
can learn.
15 years ahead of rather than other stuff we're doing.
My parents had businesses at the swap meet, right? And I would go.
Yeah.
No, for real.
That old school.
Old school.
What swap meet? I want to hear what swap meet.
Broad Acre swap meet.
Yeah, Broad Acre. Shout out Broad Acre.
Shout out, brother.
We would go out there and like I'd pop into the next stand, and if you want some sales skills, go down to the freaking swap meet, right?
Every Latina woman sold Avon at one point in time. Every Latina woman, and they were the worst salesmen too because they would keep it. God has the Avon.
Yeah, my mom used to sell Jafra and Mary Kay, and
Herbalife.
And I don't know how many shakes of those I had. We didn't have anybody for breakfast, but we had Herbalife.
But yeah, Herbalife. Y'all was in shape
The
before it
Zumba
was.
classes.
Before it was a thing.
Yeah,
so.
you had the fitness industry on lock.
That's funny.
So I think that's my one biggest advice that I would give the young, because they want to step into the executive suite, the executive chair as soon as they come in. That doesn't happen like that.
You gotta earn that.
You gotta earn that, and then once you gotta build those traits up, because once you're there, you need that communication, that sales, even with your people. You gotta,
Be in the field.
be in the field. Yeah.
I got one more for you before the kind of know that was last. What's it
course.
like? So when people think about being a boss, explain that, because I feel that people get the wrong impression because they're like, go do this, go do that, and that's not really a boss.
Right.
And you are still in the field. You still working. You still working with everybody. How do you? What's something that you would suggest as far as a new person coming in that's in that boss level?
I feel that you gotta lead by example. You gotta be the first one there. You gotta be the last one there. You gotta be in the trenches with your team. You gotta understand their whys. You gotta also understand.
Trust your team.
Yeah, and they gotta trust you, right? That's big. Like loyalty and trust. Again, talk about what the streets teach you. Loyalty and trust. Because let me tell you something. And Alex has seen. The minute I see that, I can't trust you with any of my business procedures, any of my intellectual property, right? I give you a license and I'm like, hey, good luck to you. Because I know that you're going to be more, we posted that some people will burn your ship if you let them on just because they can't be the captain. You got to be careful with that. But for a leader, I think the hardest part is that if you are a true leader, you truly care about your people and their success. And there's a difference between being a boss and being a leader. Because if you are a boss, you're gonna have people leave you. They're gonna come in, they're gonna come out, they're gonna come in, they're gonna come out. But if you're a leader, you're gonna grow with your people. Like, all of you guys are gonna grow.
Yep.
That's important. I think that's key. Yeah. Do you have any follow-up questions?
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Maybe one last thing. Why should we come see Perla to come buy a house?
I know.
Or sell your house?
I am the best in the business. I am the business.
I'm going just because she can fight at the bus stop.
That's right.
She got pictures at the bus
Knows
stop.
how to negotiate
I got
Las
some
Vegas
very
style.
aggressive negotiation skills. Let me tell you, you will get your house.
That's right. She locking the doors behind her.
One way or another. We're making it happen.
Yeah, no, and I think that, definitely we've aired for more than 10 years on Univision, on 103, 105, or on all the major,
Media outlets.
Yeah, we are on all the major, there's like 3, right? We kind of conquered them all.
For the Latino ones.
Yeah,
She's like, I run all of it.
We're
run
going to
it.
be going to General Market soon, too, though.
we are, yeah, we're expanding, coming to a local Vons near you.
Ooh.
We did Summerlin.
Summerlin.
It's all the rich houses.
That's right.
She said Vaughn's.
She said Vons.
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
We're going to be
Sprouts.
on those
We're on Sprouts.
grocery carts.
We were in your grocery cart coming next to you. Like, oh no, the Mexicans are coming. Well, there's a problem once you start seeing the white faces change to brown. Like, got that.
Look, I just want to point out I wasn't the first one to say it, so I feel like I've been saying it.
I've been saying it. No.
Well, thank you, Perla.
You're welcome.
For coming,
Thank you
for being
guys
our
for
first
having
guest.
me. This is amazing. You guys are
pleasure.
doing the Lord's work out here.
Hey,
You
I
are.
got the blessings and everything.
Yeah, because it's important. You're setting the setting the standard, right, for businesses to come in and not just talk about your success and, you know, how do you feel you can give back? I think that's big. Like,
well, I think it's you. You know, it's the knowledge that you're giving the people. So thank you.
It is. It is.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
It's amazing to hear your story.
I know.
Awesome.
I got a lot of stories.
Hey,
but they're not for tonight.
You didn't even hear one. You didn't hear one good story.
Filtered story.
I meant the other ones, the business ones, not the
business ones. Yeah, the business ones.
not the bus stop ones.
Not the bus stop ones. No. And for all of you guys that are entrepreneurs and you're hustling, keep grinding, and you know, and don't give up. There's a lot of times along the way that, you know, you feel like, man, maybe this isn't for me. And that's the most important times where you got to push through.
Facts.
Those times you have to learn how to recognize them and make sure that, you know, there's going to be a lot of people doubting you, and make sure you're not one of them, right?
Yep. Before you go, lock in your Instagram for the people to follow you and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
It's at Perla Herrera, right?
Yeah, 702.
Alex manages my Instagram, so I'm like, Alex, what is my YouTube?
You see her around town. You know her number.
You see my number on the bus stop.
You hear her on the radio.
You're on the radio. See me on TV. Yeah.
Brought to you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Much success. Thank you guys for watching.
Perfect.